Hey guys, today we're going to be rendering a lounge chair using Caliart. This is the off-brand that some of my students have been using, so I decided to get some. And I did a video on using Caliart before, and one of the things I've noticed since then, a student pointed out that there are names to the products, but they're on really small stickers, the barcode, and the font is super small. For my eyes, it's not something that I would notice, or I definitely didn't notice right off the bat. But there are names, so you can, when you're using a color reference sheet, you can definitely check that out, and maybe that'll help you guys figure out what color to use. Now, whenever we render things, I always usually put down the lightest color first. And when I do something thin like these chair legs, I use a straight edge. So feel free to use a straight edge. Now you can see from that top cover that top cover is a lot lighter than the actual color. So it is very important to do a color reference sheet before you do things. Because you don't want to think that you're getting a light color and it comes off super dark. So the color reference sheet, it's going to really help you out. For this Caliart, because the legs are so thin, I'm using the thin tip. I normally don't use the thin tip, but I find that I use the thin tip more often on Caliart than I do with Prismacolor. I think the end of the Caliart, the thick side, is more of a rectangle, so it's a little harder for me to get the control that I need. So I have to go with the thin side of the Caliart to get the details that I like to get. So whenever you're rendering, you can definitely use the straight edge. The way I'm doing this right now might help you out a little bit. All right, so now that I have varying degrees of gold for the legs, so I have light and I have medium and I have some dark areas, I'm going to go ahead and do the same treatment for the lounge chair itself. So earlier I showed the bundle of the blue colors and gold colors I was using for this whole project, so you can rewind to that part. But you want to use the lightest value that you have, and you're going to give everything a base color. And if you want to plan in advance where the highlights are, just don't do any color in those areas that are going to be light. If it's a light blue version, yes, go ahead and put some color there. And then as the colors progress, the change progresses, then you will, like for the medium colors, you'll do everything but the light areas where you're going to keep as a highlighted color. But what you're looking for is the ability to have some kind of range of value. So it's not just one flat color. Unless it's going to be like a quick sketch. If it's a quick sketch, yeah, you can just go with color and just be very careful of where things are supposed to be light and just don't put anything there. If you have, it all depends on how much time you have. If you have more time, yeah, you can play with building values. All right, so now this is going to be a dark color. So sometimes it's really scary to go dark very fast, and then you find that you're creating a hard edge of value. Um, Sometimes it's easier to kind of go backwards once you've done that dark, and then go backwards to your medium color and try to find a bridge there. So that way it's not so dramatic. Um, and that's sometimes what I do if I feel like I've gone a little too dark too quickly. Just go back to the next lighter color, and I create some kind of value range so it doesn't seem so dramatically dark. So for those of you who are scared to go a little bit darker, that's something that you can do if you think you've gone too dark too quickly. Just go backwards a little bit. And here I'm using the thin tip here just to kind of get the little crevices a little tighter. Now that's just for Caliart. Normally for Prismacolor I use the chisel, not chisel, the thick end of the chisel because I can rotate it and have better control. Alright, so now I'm going to go a little bit darker in my progression, see if I can do some details here. Before, in the beginning, it seemed like I went dark too fast, but now that I'm getting used to this, I'm getting a little bit darker and maybe changing the blue tint a little bit to give it some interest here. Alright, don't forget to show a little bit of shadow underneath your item so it just doesn't look like it's an outer space with void. There's some kind of shadow underneath, so just hint at it, and it should be good. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and use some white colored pencil just to kind of touch up on some of the highlighted areas. Maybe it went too dark too quickly on the seat, and so I'm going to go ahead and use some white colored pencil to create some kind of highlight in certain areas. Okay, I hope that helps you, and I'll see you next time.